At this rate, the 2022 college football season is going to begin, and Caleb Williams is still going to be in the transfer portal. As of right now, Caleb Williams still hasn't decided on where he's going to be playing football in the fall. However, there's a Big Ten program that's really starting to pick up steam, and a lot of people think he might end up there. Plus, the #1 running back recruit from 2021 is no longer with Alabama after having 0 snaps this past season. All that and more on today's episode of 4th and 10. 4 college football stories in just around 10 minutes. Now, let's go for it. Before we get to today's video, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you're a college football fan, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel, so make sure to join the best college football community here on YouTube. Also, if you could drop a like on this video, I would greatly appreciate it as well. It helps the algorithm of the video and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. So we're going to start this video with Caleb Williams, who, like I mentioned, is still in the transfer portal. He's been in the portal for nearly 4 weeks, and a lot of people are pretty surprised that he hasn't made a decision by now. A lot of people, myself included, just assumed that he'd end up at USC. He'd be reuniting with his former Oklahoma coach Lincoln Riley, and plus, he was recently in Los Angeles, and it looked like it'd be a done deal. There haven't really been any other programs that have gained a lot of steam over the course of the last few weeks. He was attached to UCLA and LSU, but all people pretty much assumed he'd end up with the Trojans. However, another team is starting to gain momentum, and it's a team that you wouldn't have expected. According to a report from Gary Hamilton from On3, Wisconsin is now a serious contender to land Caleb Williams. And I guess this is something that OU insider Brandon Drum has been indicating as a possibility for some time. Again, I still think Caleb Williams ends up at USC, but I definitely think there's some truth to this whole Wisconsin rumor. Bud Elliott of 24/7 Sports also recently mentioned Wisconsin being a landing spot for Caleb Williams. Now, the reason this comes out of left field is because Caleb Williams and his father have been saying all along that the biggest thing they're looking for is a school that's going to help him become an NFL quarterback. Now, I understand that Wisconsin had Russell Wilson about 10 or so years ago, but over the course of the last decade, if you look at every Wisconsin quarterback, it's truly horrifying. Like, if you're watching this video and you have kids in the house, do not open the Wisconsin reference page and look at their previous quarterbacks, because your child is going to be scarred for life. Wisconsin is consistently a good program. They usually have one of the best offensive lines in football, their defense is usually amazing, and they always have a really good running back. And they currently have that right now. But is that really the situation that Caleb Williams is willing to go to? Again, they did have Russell Wilson a decade ago, I'll give them that, but what has Wisconsin done over the past decade to warrant any reason for Caleb Williams to go there to better his chances of becoming an NFL quarterback? I saw some tweets yesterday that I thought were pretty funny, so let me share some of these with you guys. I refuse to believe Caleb Williams is picking Wisconsin, unless they're renaming Cole's to Caleb's. Caleb Williams' dad: we want Caleb to be prepared for the NFL. Wisconsin: we run the most boring offense imaginable, and also Russell Wilson played here 11 years ago. Williams, sign me up. Wisconsin is now the leading contender for Caleb Williams. Does he think he's replacing Aaron Rodgers, landing a cheese futures deal, found a big bone cheese-eating girl? Wisconsin, really? I'll need a little help with this one. Now, that was just a rumor yesterday, but there was something that happened today that added a little more to the hype train. On Wednesday, Wisconsin's athletic director Chris McIntosh had a press conference talking about Wisconsin athletics. He talked about a number of programs, and football was brought up. He was asked on when Wisconsin football will finally take that next step, and his response was pretty interesting. I'm excited about where our program is heading. There's some exciting news to be shared in the next week or so. Now, as we always do, it's time to overanalyze the hell out of this. He very well could be talking about something for the program that's going to be announced in the coming weeks that's going to be great moving forward, But is he talking about Caleb Williams potentially coming to Wisconsin? He's talking about exciting times ahead, and I think landing the top player in the transfer portal and a Heisman frontrunner for next season certainly fits that criteria. Now, while everyone's talking about Caleb Williams going to Wisconsin, the biggest takeaway I have from this is what the hell is going to happen with USC? I mean, again, we've all assumed that Caleb Williams would eventually end up there. I mean, Jackson Dart, who was one of the better quarterback recruits of his class, transferred out and is currently in the portal, likely because he assumed Caleb Williams would be coming to USC. So if Caleb Williams pretty much shocks the world and ends up at Wisconsin or any other program, what does USC do at the quarterback position? I mean, this offseason, they lost Keaton Slovis and Jackson Dart, two really good quarterback prospects. This would be like if you're a senior in high school and you ask the best looking girl to prom and she says yes. You spend the next couple of weeks getting hyped up, you're having a good time with your boys, get really pumped for the night. And then come prom night, yeah, she's with the captain of the football team and you're left in the dust. So if Caleb Williams actually does end up at Wisconsin, I'm really interested to see what happens with USC and their quarterback room. Does Jackson Dart end up transferring back in, or does another quarterback transfer to USC because it's a pretty good opportunity? Personally, I still think he ends up with the Trojans because that's his best chance of developing over the next couple of years and becoming an NFL quarterback. Wisconsin just makes no sense for me. But hey, if he wants to make $2 million off of cheese deals, by all means, go ahead. So this is definitely an interesting rumor to follow over the course of the next few days or the next few weeks. I mean, at this point, I really have no idea how much longer Caleb Williams is going to be in the transfer portal for. Moving on to our next bit of news is Alabama losing 5-star running back Jamar Chase. He was a true freshman last season, but is no longer listed in the school's student directory and apparently has been away from the team. Though there hasn't been an official announcement made yet, it looks like Wheaton is unlikely to return to Alabama, and he's also not currently listed in the transfer portal. Jamar Chase was a 5-star running back from the 2021 class, and a lot of outlets had him ranked as the #1 overall running back in the entire country. But he didn't play one snap during the 2021 season as he dealt with a knee injury. The last update that we got on him came from Nick Saban back in November when he said that Jamar Chase was still rehabbing, saying he's not on the field yet and he still has a long ways to go. As I mentioned, Wheaton was ranked as the #1 running back by many outlets. He was ranked by 24/7 Sports as the number 34 overall player in the 2021 class. He went to high school at Centennial High in Garland, Texas. He ran for 3,700 yards and 48 touchdowns during his high school career. Now, I couldn't find a whole lot on him, but from what I was reading from Alabama fans, apparently he had a really interesting recruiting process. I guess he was down to between Alabama and Oklahoma, but he would pretty much just go off the grid for an extended period of time. According to reports, he would go about a month without replying to any texts or calls from each program. And then apparently one day before he committed, he texted Alabama saying he was going to be committing there. Now, this threw Alabama off because they hadn't heard from him in over a month, so they just assumed he wouldn't be going there. But yeah, I guess his entire recruiting process was just really weird. There was a lot of interesting things in regards to stuff he was posting on social media, stuff he was liking on social media, and yeah, the fact that he was off the grid for an extended period of time and wouldn't return texts or calls from Alabama or Oklahoma, that whole thing is certainly interesting. Now he missed the entire season with a knee injury, he's no longer with Alabama, but he's not in the transfer portal. So there's no real update on what's going to happen with Jamar Chase. Now, unfortunately, I lied at the beginning of the video because I said this would be 4th and 10. Today's video is actually going to be 3rd and 10 because I only have 3 stories to talk about. And this last piece of news is certainly something. If you guys watched football this past season, you would have seen that Jamar Chase was not only the best rookie wide receiver in the NFL, but he emerged as one of the best overall wide receivers in the NFL. During his Wednesday press conference for the AFC Championship game, Jamar Chase was asked how he developed a mindset to accomplish things that people say he's unable to do. At first, Chase said he didn't have any stories, but then he said he actually had one of the best stories ever. And this is seriously something. Les Miles told me I couldn't play receiver when I was coming out of high school, so that was something I had on my shoulders coming up. Les Miles told me he thought I could play cornerback. I wasn't really in full position at receiver yet, so I just kept working at my craft in the offseason, waking up early in the mornings to work out. I just kept focus. So yeah, Les Miles had one of the better receiving recruits we've seen in recent time, who could go down as one of the best wide receivers of all time, and he wanted him to play cornerback. Now, the ironic thing is, Jamar Chase ended up not even ever playing for Les Miles because he was fired in September of 2016. Ed Orgeron was named the next head coach, and Jamar Chase came into the program as a true freshman in 2018. And yeah, I think Jamar Chase has done just fine as a wide receiver. Back in 2019, when LSU won the national championship, Jamar Chase caught 84 passes for 1,800 yards with 20 touchdowns. Then, this past season as a rookie in the NFL, he had 81 catches for 1,500 yards and 13 receiving touchdowns. So it's a good thing Jamar Chase didn't go down that route, because who knows where he'd be right about now. So what are your guys' thoughts on all the topics I discussed today? What are your thoughts on Caleb Williams potentially going to Wisconsin, and do you think those rumors are true, or do you think he's going to end up at USC regardless? Do you think Kamar Wheaton is going to end up at SMU, or do you think he's going to end up at another program that could desperately use a running back of his talent? Finally, let me know your thoughts on Les Miles wanting Jamar Chase to play cornerback as opposed to wide receiver. If you guys haven't done so yet, now is still the perfect time to smash that subscribe button and join the community here on YouTube. If you love college football, then this is definitely the place for you. Oh, and before you go, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It really helps with that YouTube algorithm, and it helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do, and it's a lot of fun. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all in my next video.